morning to you. This is Books and Blogs. I'm Catherine Mwangi. Thank you for tuning in. Again, we are still on our book review edition. Today we check out Immigrant Cocktail by our very own local author, Shiko Kimani Mwaneki, and this is going to be very exciting. So let's go on and meet them and get to discuss what her book is all about. The author is Miss Shiko Kimani Mwaneki, who's here with us. Hey. Welcome to the show. Lady in black this morning.
Oh, yeah.
And Mr. Alan Aringo, yes, panelist, who has experience, you've lived in the diaspora.
Not as a victim.
Not as a victim. But Alan is the founder of Language Experts, where you teach Portuguese, French, and Spanish, correct?
Correct.
Good stuff. So you'll tell us more about it. And of course, Mita, who's no stranger to most of us, my colleague at the Standard Group. Welcome to the show. So Shiko, Immigrant Cocktail, we finally talk about it. I enjoyed the book. Let me start with that. I really did. Love the story, but of course you have many questions. Why did you write this book?
Why? Like I said, the last time we did talk about it, touched on it a bit. And I said it's a story that needs to be told, and I still insist it's a story that needs to be told, because a lot of people think your financial problems end when you go to the West. I'll use the West because earlier we were talking about what is diaspora. Is it like geography or is it like the money? So I'll use the West. So you think if you go to America, if you go to Britain, that your financial problems are over, and it's such a lie. Because the things people get to do when they get there to get that money, hard, humiliating, you never ready for what you find there. And I'm not saying it's everybody, because there's a huge percentage of people who are quite happy in their jobs. They've got the jobs of their dreams. But the majority is, it's bad. And then they don't say, because the expectations back home is, they're happy, all those photos posing in front of Lamborghinis and, so it looks good. And the more we don't tell the story, the more our children keep going there and then getting frustrated, and then it becomes a vicious cycle. And I'm hoping every parent and child, teenager hoping to go abroad gets to read this. I don't want to say that people should not go, because of course migration will happen either way, but just it's like, I think you should be ready that it's not
as glamorous as you imagine it to be.
Yes.
Okay, so what took you there in the first place?
What took me there? Boredom.
You've said that in the book. I'm like, hey,
yeah, I was bored because I had just finished my contract in Tanzania. I was working in Dar es Salaam, and my contract ended, and then I wasn't ready to come back home. But the government at that point was not renewing work visas for, let me just say Kenyans. Let me just say Kenyans.
Okay.
I will not sugarcoat it. So I found myself without a plan. Like, if I come back home, what do I do? So I said, okay, you know what? I'm just going to ask for a visa and
go to London.
Go to London. My brother used to work. My brother lived there. So I'm like, I'll just go and see my brother. And then when I went to the Dar es Salaam High Commission for British High Commission, they gave me such a long visa. And I was like, because I wanted to go for like a month. And then they gave me for years, and I'm thinking, okay, I'll just stay then. Because I don't have, I'll just stay.
Yeah.
And a lot of...
So everything you have in this book basically is what you observed.
Yes.
Happening with...
Sometimes observation. Most of it is observation. Some of it is my experience.
Of course,
Some of it is stories told by, hey, do you know Nani, what they did? That kind of thing. But everything in that story, in that book, it might be fiction. A lot of it is exaggerated because we can't help it. You're a storyteller, yes. We can't help it. Yes. But every story there has a basis of truth in that.
Okay, I'll come back to you when you said some of it is your experience. I'm keen to find out what exactly.
Just so you know.
I'll give you a couple of options.
Just so you know.
I'll give you choices. Was it this? Okay, so Alan, tell me, where in the West were you and for how long?
I spent 10 years in the US.
Okay.
Yeah.
What were you doing there?
I was Maybe I was trying to discover myself, but in the course of self-discovery, I got some education.
So when you left here, the plan was not education, it was
No.
self-discovery.
The plan was to visit, but remember, it was a whole lot easier back then to change your visa. So you could visit, and then you decide, I want to go to school. But in my case, I thought maybe visit first,
Okay.
and then do school,
Okay.
and then move around, and then see what it's all about.
Wow. And all of that took all of 10 years.
Yeah, plan in the long term. Yeah.
Okay. What state were you in?
I started off in Virginia, a place called Hampton, very beautiful, very close to Norfolk, Virginia, which has a very big U.S. base. It's considered the quiet side of the U.S., 2 hours away from Washington, which is the big city, the capital, and then I moved to Texas, Dallas, Texas, and that is where I saw a lot of things that come close to what she's talked about.
Is it?
Yeah, because Texas has one of the biggest Kenyan populations outside of, within the United States, not to mention Boston, Massachusetts,
Boston.
as well as Minneapolis. But the strange thing about the U.S. is people go in communities. So Boston is known for a certain group of Kenyans, Kenyan community. There you go.
Boston.
Yeah. So when you read this, you start remembering Worcester County. Worcester is a place outside of Boston where there are so many Kenyans. Plus the grandmothers who went to visit their children during graduation and got jobs. And then you come down, the dynamics are very amazing.
What kind of jobs do grandmothers get?
Babysitting.
There you go. You visit your grandchildren, you babysit for them as your grandchildren take care of old people, something of the sort. So there's a dynamics to it. And not everybody does that. There are very many successful Kenyans. But the truth of the matter is most of the realities in these books really manifest. It makes you remember, wow, okay, no wonder that was happening. You almost think it's an exchange program between the UK and the US.
Is true. Yeah.
I would imagine the difference between the US and the UK, before I go to Tony's Russia experience, is the UK, the way you described it in the book is, the very, I'm looking for a diplomatically correct word. They keep to themselves. They don't socialize. They're a bit, stiff, rigid. The typical Britain compared to the American. I would imagine Americans, from what we see in the movies, are a bit more warmer, outgoing.
That's in the movies.
Yes, there comes a time when you have to stop watching movies.
Yes.
But the most amazing thing is what the Kenyans' mentality wherever they go. Whether they go to the UK or the US, the book lets you know the common denominator. They are,
which is what?
Which is you are a second-class citizen and you have to work your way up by taking anything that comes your way as you hope for a better life. That is a common denominator.
Wow.
Yeah, except for a few people who go, maybe because your father is the president or your prime minister or a minister, or maybe a renowned business person. But the average person who gets that visa, he knows at the back of his mind, this is my lucky shot.
Right.
And I've got to do with everything I can do with it, but start from wherever to get somewhere.
Okay. What did you have to start doing?
I had a very good experience, I'll be very honest with you. I once cleaned an office, but they were very good. It was a very professional cleaning type of a cleaning job, not the type that I saw in this book.
In this book, yes.
But then I also got into customer service. And working in a call center really helped me a lot. I have 7 years. I did 7 years of customer service experience. But the very first job that I took, I was fortunate because I had an American roommate. So I was sort of accompanied through the process. That's why I'm saying that even the cleaning was what he was doing, but he was a professional cleaner.
Okay.
He was not the hustler, illegal type.
No.
So he was, I think I had a low barrier of entry, a soft entry into the system, I would say.
Okay.
Yes.
Tony.
Yes.
Cold Russia.
Yes. No, Russia was fine.
But you were deported after how long?
Yes, that's yeah.
3 weeks?
Yes, yeah.
Was it 3 weeks?
The experience I really wanted to, the one that gave me like a semi-immigrant experience was in, we had gone for a month to London, but I was conned by a Nigerian. Yeah? I was conned by a Nigerian. There's a Nigerian. I don't know this. Some people are born with this twist of fate, yes, yeah, in their lives. Yeah. So this Nigerian woman had actually convinced.
Nigerian woman.
Yes, she's called Khadija George.
Oh,
yeah?
okay.
Khadija
Don't
George.
sound Nigerian,
that
but it's
wasn't
fine.
really her
Assuming
name.
it's her name.
Yeah, it's like Victor Moses. Sometimes I've got these funny names. But she had taken 4 of us. She had convinced the British Council to bring 4 writers from the continent to come for a month-long sort of
Okay.
stay. And she got money for it.
Okay.
She wrote a good
She had
proposal. Yeah, we assigned, you know, we signed our names to it and so on. But she had funding. But then she stuck us with our relatives. Yeah? You know Chatsworth in London?
Yes.
Chatsworth? It's a very broke area of London. So I wasn't even met like at the airport at Heathrow. I thought I would be met like by, you know, like a cab or, you know. And I had to wander around. I kept being told to go to the underground. So I would go underground. It took me a while to realize that they meant, you know, like the train.
Okay.
So I spent like 3 hours underground because I kept wondering why they're telling me to go to the underground. Yeah, and you know, I used to raise it big and have bags. You know, I really suffered, but thank God, finally I managed to, you know, I got that address on a paper. And London is very scary, so I had to go there by bus. And it is a big city you've never been, you know, like to...
What was the weather like then?
Yeah, it was like raining, then it stops raining. It was in April 2008.
So it was, London.
Yes, it was London proper. But where we went to stay in Chatsworth, there was this entire ecosystem of West Africans, because I was staying with a brother. And they pretend they're selling curios. Yeah, they pretend that they're very connected, like Amage, we are going back to Africa. They spend the whole day playing video games and getting help from the state. They had worked themselves into like a social security system. But we'd spend very idle days. Like they'll play video games, I'm reading, then you know, you go drinking in corner stores. Those they're at the corner. Indians are selling things, there's like cheap whiskey. And I found out these people, it's a strange, almost miserable existence, because you're like nobody there. Yeah? The richest guy, remember, was some Jamaican guy. He had a Jaguar and he was selling drugs. And then all the women have many babies. Yeah, you know, young women like you, but you have like 5 kids. Then I found out they're also scamming the state. They get more money per kid. Because I was wondering, why are there so many, you know, prams? Yeah, and sadly, most of them are women of color, and they're from like, you know, Caribbean, Africa, double prams. Yeah, and so this was, I lived there for like, the entire April, of 2008 in this strange neighborhood. Yeah, I adjusted to the idle days after a while, because these guys only go to collect like welfare and so on. Yeah, so...
Then pass by the shop and buy some cheap, yeah?
Yes, yeah, that's what, we spend our days, that's what we were doing. Yeah, like play video games in the morning, drink beer in the afternoon.
And yet you had gone there for what?
We had gone for a workshop.
So what, there was no workshop basically?
There was one talk at the British Museum.
And that's it?
And it had been situated very near the end of April, so that the corn is not quite discovered. So we went and we gave some talk, and then we discovered our miseries. I found 2 other guys and a chick. I found a South African, a Ghanaian and an Egyptian. Yeah, we had been...
From Africa?
So you didn't meet before that day?
No, she made sure it was that day, and we passed at the con. Yeah, but you know, it was like, I remember it was a Saturday evening when we did this talk, and I was flying back on a Monday.
Wow.
Yeah, I still remember that Monday, and I was coming back is the time that this guy, Obama, had just sealed they were sure that he's going to overtake Hillary. Yeah, so that was like May 1st, 2008.
So you even have things to remember that
Yeah,
experience.
But you know, I thought I would never want to leave. You're a nobody. That's the feeling you get. You never understand how much of a someone you are, like when you're in Kenya. When you go there, your humanity sort of erased. Unakuwa mtu, like some statistic crawling through. You know, the looks you get. No, Russia was different. I was a student. We were having fun. There was a lot of vodka, and it was an international.
So half the time you were passed out. You didn't quite experience anything here. Half the time you were passed out. I know you're saying Russia was fine. Yeah.
Yeah, no wonder.
Russia was truthfully, it was like one long alcoholic stupor and not just for me, for most people.
Yeah.
People would look just drenched, yeah,
And
even
yet you've
like
gone there to
lecturers. People are studying, but there's a very hazy sort of atmosphere. It's like you're in a dream. Russia was a dream. I think that's why I liked it so much. Yeah, yeah, London is a bit too real for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alan, in America, and you touched a bit about it in the book as well. So I'm just comparing two different cities or countries, if you may. Racism. Is it to your face? Is it subtle? Is it an undercurrent?
Okay, it's a very good question, but I often find myself having to talk about my personal experience. Amazingly, I've never really faced serious issue. And part of the reason I think there's a culture that we have as Africans which we can never get away from. The thing about being loud wherever you go, boisterous, you want to be the person. Once you bring some of those things, it really gets you in trouble. And I'm quite surprised that there's a lot of drinking in this book. And I don't know why we often have to transport some of those behaviors. But I noticed, personally, if you get into this kind of space where you either run a business or really follow education, or you just do what took you there, your chances are a bit less, in my opinion, because sometimes we go there expecting it. And so I don't know if it happens because of that self-fulfilling prophecy or that you expect it. But the truth of the matter still remains that there are people who've been discriminated against. I was in Texas one time and I saw a girl, an African girl, being handcuffed by policemen. She was surrounded by 4 white policemen and she was being handcuffed, and you could tell it was a traffic stop. You could tell it was a traffic violation. I think in her case, maybe I would say, well, maybe there was some racism involved. I don't know.
Okay.
Because there was really no one being contacted to try and find out maybe a next of kin or something. You could tell she was being transported somewhere.
Okay.
Racism exists, but sometimes we look for it, other times it finds us. From experience.
No, I know. I want to, sorry, I have to jump in here, and I have to jump on Alan a bit.
Clearly,
yeah,
jump.
because what Alan is saying is people should shrink themselves. Yeah, like you become the invisible man, the invisible black man, and by black man I mean a woman, like in your skin. He's saying get rid of your personality, become very small, so that you're not under white threat.
Okay.
But now, in Russia, I can tell you this. It's number one, I wasn't shrinking. In Russia now, I experienced racism on a number of occasions. I was having a good time, but because also of the kind of person I am, I don't want to shift continents and stop being myself.
Yeah.
I'm a loud person,
Yeah.
and you'd find you are right. Sometimes it gives offense.
Yes.
Yeah. I remember some barman asking which country you're from and ripping a map off a wall and putting his finger over Kenya. He removed the world map. Yeah, this guy called Timor, slammed it on our table, closed Kenya with his tongue, and he said, Kenya, very small country. Yeah, Russia, very big. Kenya, very noisy. Shut the hell up. Yeah.
Wow.
Like, but we became friends with Timor.
Yeah, later.
But like, you know, you're in a place, you're dancing, like, you know, we are younger.
Yeah.
You're in a club, you're dancing. And then the DJ pretends he's going to the men's restroom. There's one who almost broke my rib. I still feel pain a bit because he had put no,
50 years
hit me
later.
with a brass knuckle.
Just.
Okay.
Over here.
Just.
Yes.
Okay, get on with the story.
Yeah, sorry, she made me feel sorry for myself. Yeah. So what he's saying, and you know, it still hurts a bit. But thank
Okay,
you.
sorry,
I don't
Tony,
know. I don't
sorry.
know, Madam.
Sorry, it hurts.
Just wind it. Yeah.
Sorry that it's hurting.
So what I'm trying to say is, yeah. So what he's saying is, when you go there, shrink yourself.
Which I have a problem again.
I will have to respond to that, because ask me about Italy. Italy is a totally different experience for me.
You've also been to Italy,
now,
by the way.
when you go to Italy and they don't know, it's hard to tell who came by boat and who got a visa.
Yeah.
And so I've been in Italy and I've noticed the way people want to, they kind of suspect you.
Like you just
don't want to deal with, in Italy now, ask me about that. Remember, when I answered the question, I said there are 2 ways you can answer the question: from your personal experience, from what you've seen,
from what you've read,
from what people say. So I gave you my personal experience. Ask me about Italy and you feel the space.
I think
I
what
was
Tony
in
was
Perugia,
responding
2 hours
to,
out of Rome, between Rome and Firenze.
I think what Tony was responding to is what you said earlier when answering your question. Like, at times we shift our personalities or experiences, our drinking habits, our loudness.
Yeah.
abroad, you know. So I think he was jumping onto that, like, I don't have to change because I've gone somewhere. I can be myself and either be accepted or rejected. And
Either way,
and
you're
then
going to be
also-
rejected.
You will.
Either
You
way.
will, you will
So
be rejected.
don't change.
You will be
Just
rejected.
Yeah,
Let
but
them
he
hate you
wasn't
for being
rejected.
You will be
Anyway.
Alan wasn't
rejected, but
rejected.
remember, people have stereotypes that you can help enforce by behaving in a certain way. They already know you're loud. They already know you're boisterous. They're expecting you to do it. But for them, they want to catch you doing it. They feel good because they already have the stereotype.
Yeah.
So if you change just a bit, then you prove them wrong. I know places where they say Friday nights, we're going to catch Mexicans and Africans or African Americans. There was that stereotype
Yeah.
in police communities.
Yeah.
They know these people are going to drink
Yeah,
and drive,
and drive.
and we're going to catch, for every 10 people we catch, there will be one white. Trust me, everybody. So some of those things are in the news. Stereotypes. These people cannot handle alcohol. It does something to them.
We just drink too much.
Yes.
Okay.
No,
Okay.
Yeah, you know.
We
But
will.
also, I think you can have fun with if I may, Kidogo.
Yeah.
You can have fun with that kind of racism. 'Cause
Yeah.
like, you know, if you go to a store, like a clothes store, like you go to an expensive clothes store, and you walk in, and you know, suddenly there are people following you, and you're like, okay, you know,
Yeah.
they are checking whether you will steal something.
Right.
So you walk, and then I'd stop and say, I promise, today I will not steal. I said, today I promise
Okay.
I will not steal.
Okay.
And then you catch them, and it gets very embarrassing. So they leave you alone.
They leave you when
Yeah?
they see that you've seen
Exactly,
them. Yeah.
and then you buy the cheapest thing there, which still dents
Which is
your
a pair of
pocket.
socks.
But you need, you're trying to prove something. You know, I can buy stuff here.
I hear
But
you.
I don't think you need to attract anything actually. I just think you need to be black and foreign. You know.
Yeah.
Even black is enough, because even the blacks they are still attracted.
They still go the same. They go through the same.
Yeah.
Okay, so we will take just a quick commercial break. We come back, we delve more into this book. Don't go too far.